Hello, welcome to Mind Your Motivation. Go ahead and love the self. My name is Anna Turl and I will be your manifest mentor. I am so excited that you've decided to take this journey with me. This is all about the self that's with you every day. It's very important that you take into consideration what the self is. This is exploring yourself on a personal level as well as a social level. This is really a great topic and is only going to provide you very basic knowledge of the psychology self-concept theory. I highly recommend, if that's something that interests you, that you take it upon yourself to further research it. We'll be discussing how to love yourself unconditionally, which is loving yourself without limits. We're going to be discussing motivation, aligning, and manifestation, so look out for those terminologies as well. Let me start you on learning about the storyboard. As you can see behind me, I welcome you to my class, Mind Your Motivation, Go Ahead and Love the Self, with me, Anna Turl. I've created this beautiful storyboard to go along with this class just for you. There will be markers here that'll point to which chapter and part that we're in. I'll have a icon here that will correspond as a visual to the lesson that we're doing. You'll also see the same icon right at the top of the title as well. So that'll give you a visual of each lesson and might hold as a tool in your memory. Just when you want to repeat these, when you run into a opportunity to find ways to encourage and motivate yourself, you'll learn more about it. These visuals get moved, they'll be moved to behind me. I would like to encourage you to bring your own thoughts and feelings into this because, as mentioned, this is about you, the self. And also to trust the self with you every day. I'm ready to get started. I believe you are as well. I'll start you off in Wake the Self Up. I'm going to give you an opportunity to dive into some of the terminologies that you're going to hear, taking note of your own understanding of these terms, or if you're not really sure, you have an opportunity to also take it upon yourself to look up those terminologies, web search, a dictionary, write down a basic understanding of these terms. Next is called Mirror Mirror, which dives into exploring the self on a personal level. You're encouraged to look at yourself in the mirror, and then you can elaborate on what you love about your appearances or your personality, your hobbies, anything that you see when you look in the mirror and you see who the self is. The final part of chapter 1 is Hearts of Gold Like Mine. It gives you an opportunity to write about 5 individuals who you love unconditionally and feel that unconditional love that they give to you, and how that encourages and motivates you as the self or the present self to becoming the ideal self. These are all terminologies that you will explore more into the first part, Wake the Self Up. The self-concept theory is founded by psychologist Dr. Carl Rogers. He took the self-concept theory and broke it into 3 parts: the present, self-esteem, as well as the ideal self. Dr. Carl Rogers described the self-concept to be made on the basis of, again, the present, self-esteem, and the ideal self. Dr. Carl Rogers was a humanistic psychologist, and he agreed with the work of Abraham Maslow. He theorized that for humans to actually grow in their environment, humans need an environment that provides them with genuineness, that is also considering openness and self-disclosure, feeling safe to be open and also disclose parts of the self. With that also comes with acceptance in an unconditional fashion. And unconditional love, as mentioned, is love without limits or conditioned. And that also humans need to feel empathized through feeling heard and understood by other humans. With unconditional love, we have an opportunity to look into how we can use that as self-motivation and encouragement and allow ourselves to achieve what we want for ourselves. We're able to actually align ourselves and with the ideal self and manifest who we want the ideal self to be. It's not always the case that everyone has an environment that they can flourish in, right? We don't always have to stay in that place. There's a temporary time sometimes, and it really takes the love for the self to feel encouraged and motivated to bring ourselves to the ideal place. You'll see there's 16 terms. There's each of them around a pillow. Pick the self up. Some of the terms you're going to see are motivation, manifest, and align. How these terms work together in this course are with the self-concept theory is that when you want to consider how to align your present self with the ideal self, you're going to consider if you are in alignment. And in order to do that, you need to assess between the present self and the ideal self and how to actually achieve the present self becoming the ideal self. In order to do that, you need to actually discover if you are in one or two categories. If you are in congruence, which would be considered to be in alignment, or the opposite, which would be considered incongruence, which means you don't feel in alignment. And when the self does not feel aligned with the self, also known as the present self, when the present self does not quite feel aligned with who it's going to be in terms of the ideal self, then it is tend to be incongruence. When it's incongruence, it could have a negative effect on self-esteem. And because it doesn't feel like it's really motivated and it's really going to a place where it wants to manifest what it wants to be, it's really important to kind of learn these terminologies to best understand them later in this course, which you'll have an opportunity to dive into discovering if you feel that you are in congruence with who the present self wants to be and who wants to become in the ideal self. But if you're not, if you are, great. You might be saying, hey, I already love myself enough. I already feel like I am my ideal self. I think that's wonderful. This is the self that's with you every single day. This is about loving the self unconditionally and giving the self encouragement and motivation. I'm going to include a link to the article that I was able to get a little more information on Carl Rogers that I mentioned earlier, and I will put that link. This is completely on my guidance and my understanding and my basis of this. I definitely highly recommend, if you are interested, read more on these terminologies. This is you owning an empire, your self-love on the throne as well. Self-concept, it consists of 3 parts. It's the present self-esteem and the ideal self. The present self is the current self, who you see personally and who you are. Self-esteem are your thoughts and feelings that bridge between the present self and becoming the ideal self. When you're maybe feeling more motivated, you might feel like you're becoming more aligned with who you are as the ideal self. You will have more positive self-esteem. You'll feel really good about yourself. On the other hand, if you don't feel like you're aligning with who the present self wants to become as the ideal self, then you're going to feel more of a negative self-esteem and not feel as great about yourself. That's where it comes back to the congruence and the incongruence. For right now, we're just going to focus on the present self. And in mirror, find a mirror and take a look at that beautiful self that you see. You can talk about your personality or your hobbies and your achievements or anything that makes you proud, because as mentioned, this class is about motivation. Anything that can make the self feel motivated and encouraged by you. In the mirror, take a look in a mirror and feel free to speak highly of yourself. It's okay. You've achieved great things. Show yourself how to love yourself unconditionally on a personal level. This is Hearts of Gold Like Mine. These are people in your own life who you unconditionally love and make you un unconditionally loved just as much right back. These are 5 very important people to you who give you a lot of self-encouragement and motivation to accomplish anything in your dreams. They are always rooting you on, and they always got your back, no matter where they are. They could exist in any timeline of your life. They really could have. Take this opportunity to really thinking hard about 5 people who are very significant to you. It could be, of course, a parent, a grandparent, another family member, or a spouse, your children, anybody, right? Be a friend, of course, somebody who really truly inspired you. Think of 5 special hearts that you really feel really deep connection to, and really dive into the unconditional love that you have for them and how they reciprocate it to yourself, the self, like how they love the self with you every single day, how they keep the present self wanting to become the ideal self. These people who have hearts of gold like yours. I hope you really feel the unconditional love that you put out to the universe and that the universe brings back to you, because it will stay with you. It always will. I know you're going to discover that when you dive into this one. Hey there, and welcome to chapter 2. Hope you enjoyed exploring the self concept and looking into the self at a personal perspective as well as a social perspective. Now we are going to go into looking into the present self becoming the ideal self. I'm here to give you a little bit of insight of what to look forward to. The first activity or part in chapter 2 is called Align Your Crown, where you're going to explore the congruence versus incongruence that I've mentioned a few times already in this course. That was part of your Wake the Self Up terminology. You're just going to go ahead and pick through key elements in your life that you decide to dive into, discovering where you feel aligned with your present self becoming the ideal self based on that key element. This is where you're considering if you are within congruence, which means alignment of the present self manifesting as the ideal self under that key element, or your incongruence, which means that you're feeling maybe not so much that you're manifesting into that ideal self under that key element. You might have more of a negative self-esteem. That might be something to dive into in this activity so that you're able to decide how to achieve congruency under that key element. Key elements are things of your choice. It's really up to you. It's going to be different for everybody. For instance, some people might say, I'd love to make changes to my personality. And so they might pick that specific trait in their personality to work on. If there's something they're deciding to work on, could be maybe you want to start a hobby and you want to do this hobby, but you want to become better at it. That might be a key element to consider. It really can be anything. It can be your job. It can be just your next goal. I mean, honestly, key element, think anything. I decided to leave that as something open because I thought that would be the best way for it to be explored individually. You get 5 key elements to explore, and you get quite a bit of space as well. Make sure that you really take on that opportunity to align your crown. Next in chapter 2 is the Love the Self in Shiny Armor, which is a activity about taking maybe something that the self has already experienced and came out of it with bravery and courage because it was faced with unconditional love. It's just a story that really means a lot to the self. I think it could serve as a great motivator. So this is where you get a chance to talk about the love for the self and the shiny armor, which is love for the ideal self, and also include the present self too. All right, like the shiny armor, you could really be wearing it at any time. That's really when you feel congruence and alignment, manifesting something to write a story about it. If perhaps you already have a story in mind and maybe it's just a story that's encouraging and motivating and it didn't necessarily occur, you can, of course, write about that as well. This is really for the self that's with you every day. Whatever will work is, best for you. The last lesson, make the empire shake, imagining the self having a party and imagining who's there and describing what we are celebrating. This is going to be an opportunity to use those individuals you came up with in Hearts of Gold Like Mine and discuss a opportunity that you're celebrating. You're going to write a celebratory speech and make the empire shake. Pick 5 key elements out of the self and decide if you think that they align the present self becoming the ideal self. Are these key elements allowing the present self to manifest into the ideal self? One indicator is deciding based on something, if you're on your self-esteem about it and your thoughts and feelings. There might be a key element that makes you feel great and positive. That would be something to write about because more than likely you feel aligned with the present self becoming the ideal self based on that key element. Maybe write about how that came about and what you are going to do with that going forward to stay aligned. On the other hand, you might decide on something, a key element that kind of makes you feel negative self-esteem and not so well about yourself. With that in mind, you might decide to give yourself more motivation and encouragement in that page because you're going to want to bring yourself to feeling in alignment with that key element. Kind of discuss how to get to that point. Take your time on it. This is a really great opportunity to decide how you can become within congruence as the self and feel good and great self-esteem because that's what's going to give you the self environment, allowing yourself to flourish and feel comfortable within yourself. Take this opportunity to explore that. The self is great. The self is awesome. And to keep the momentum going and give you an opportunity to tell a story. Love the self in shiny armor is telling a story about the self going through something that was very courageous on its behalf and full of bravery. This is probably something that you've already faced, and I took you through a journey that, with unconditional love and really gave you a lesson on it and showed you how special that self really is. This is where it's between the present self, or it can be about the ideal self. You can also come up with one that gives the self motivation and encouragement as well. Talk about a self in shiny armor. Talk about their brave and courageous journeys. This is really all about you. You are the self in shiny armor. Just talk about what that looks like, who that is, and what makes their armor so shiny. Make it fun. This is really about you. There's probably a lot you can really say, but this story is really all yours. Whatever the self manifested, and as mentioned, and maybe it was something you already manifested, maybe something you're working on manifesting. It's just a really great story. This is all yours, so go ahead and write it. This is an opportunity to celebrate with people that you love unconditionally. It can be the Hearts of Gold Like Mine squad. It can be more friends, family, whoever, you're celebrating your great achievements. Write a celebratory speech to the self and celebrate all the self is. Really base it on the present self. You're working to align to manifest the ideal self. It's the present self that needs the motivation and the encouragement. I really do encourage you to write this as a celebratory speech about the present self. If you did write a story about the ideal self, write a speech about that too. This is about celebrating with the people that you love unconditionally and they love you unconditionally, so that you're able to feel that you can write a toast to yourself and your social circle based on your own achievement. Make it a good feeling. Bring everybody to this party. Make Your Empire Shake is the name. You gotta make this a loud party, a loud cheer for you. I encourage you to write a very encouraging celebratory speech about all your great achievements and accomplishments. Consider including more details of what's to come, because this is about you. Thank those people for being in your life, and it's totally your speech. Gain some words of encouragement to the self. You deserve all the great words in the world. Say a lot of nice things because you deserve to hear them. Really give yourself that motivation and encouragement that the self needs. This is Burning Love for the Self. 3 activities, and the first one is catching wish fulfillments. And in catching wish fulfillments, you are going to come up with and describe wish fulfillments. And what wish fulfillments? Those things that you say, I want, or I wish. They are something that you're already working on. Really, it's up to you. It's those things that you wish to have. They're wish fulfillments. You wish upon them. If you have them, they fulfill you. They fulfill the self. Those are catch wish fulfillments, and you had the opportunity to fill out 9 stars. This final chapter is about the ideal self, but also it's the present self, wishing for certain things. The next lesson is affirming self-fulfilling prophecies. In this activity, you will actually write affirmation statements about your catch wish fulfillments. You will turn those I wants into I will. Affirmation statements are affirming a idea or a belief so that you claim it and you believe in the self to achieve it. You say, I will do this, and you affirm it. You feel it in your heart and soul that you will manifest this self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy is basically taking a wish and turning into something that you know you are going to do. It will fulfill yourself. You've made it a prophecy to achieve it in your lifetime. Turn everything into gold. Once you have figured out your catch wish fulfillments and you turn them into your self-fulfilling prophecies and you affirm them, you turn everything into gold and write a story about the ideal self, achieving greatness and great things. You are going to have the opportunity to elaborate on your wish fulfillments. Wish fulfillments are things that you say, I wish or I want, and they're for things that would make the self feel fulfilled. Hence the name wish fulfillments. Fill these stars up with hopes and dreams. Maybe some goals working on or plan to work on. It's up to you. I encourage you to fill this page all the way up. Whether these are hopes or dreams for the present self or the ideal self, this is an opportunity to catch those wish fulfillments. You are going to take those catch wish fulfillments and turn those wish fulfillments into self-fulfilling prophecies by creating affirmation statements. Affirmation statements are those I wills. I will have this. I claim this. Claim your wish fulfillment by writing an affirmation statement of how you will precede the wish fulfillment as a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you create a self-fulfilling prophecy, you're actually taking a wish and believing in the self achieving it during its lifetime. You're saying like, I will do this. I will definitely go after that hope, goal, or dream. When you make a affirmation statement, this is your opportunity to create 9 of them. Totally up to you. I just really encourage you to cover all 9 of them. If You want to turn 9 wishes into self-fulfilling prophecies. I encourage you to want to claim all of your wish fulfillments and turn any or all into self-fulfilling prophecies. Affirming it is saying, I believe in myself to achieve this, and claiming it, saying, I will do this, instead of I want to or I wish to. You have 9 spaces to work with and the opportunity to write to yourself achieving these accomplishments. There's times that all we can really rely on is ourselves. That's why it's very important to discover the unconditional love that you have for yourself, because that's you telling yourself, like, I believe in you. I believe I can accomplish my hopes, goals, dreams, and all my greatness. It's the self behind you telling you you are capable of doing this. We've led up to this point. For the final part of Mind Your Motivation, Go Ahead and Love the Self, is turn everything into gold. With this activity, you are going to write another story or just describe how to create that environment that gives you the power of, as a human, to flourish in. It's brought to you by the self. It's an environment that allows openness, self-disclosure, as well as feeling empathized, which means being heard and understood by others, like you described in your Hearts of Gold Like Mine. How can you help the self feel encouraged and motivated in its own empire? Turn everything into gold within your empire. I had a great time at creating it. I hope that you see how much you have the power to bring the encouragement, motivation out of yourself so that you can manifest anything that you want to achieve for yourself. Keeping in mind that to consider those key elements that you might need to align your crown with so they are better able to be achieved. There's so many ways, but there's so many possibilities, and you are full of endless possibilities. Always keep that in mind. And you are very loved, so much loved, especially creating unconditional love for yourself and removing those limits, ways and conditions of loving yourself, and just knowing that you have your own support is so powerful in so many ways. And I hope you know that. It's all part of a brave and courageous journey as well. This is definitely that opportunity to recall that celebratory speech and show the self how you will turn everything into gold so that it is able to flourish in that environment that you are creating, to be open and accepted as well by you, so that you're able to feel that self-encouragement and self-love on your manifestation journey. Well, you did it. You have reached the conclusion of Mind Your Motivation, Go Ahead and Love the Self. It was definitely a pleasure to be guiding light on your manifestation journey. As you can see behind me, this took you on a journey of exploring the heart and the throne, love your empire, and burning love for the self. Kind of taught you how to take in consideration the self concept theory derived from psychologist Dr. Carl Rogers, and take the present self and consider how to motivate, then align and manifest the self into the ideal self. Doing this, we explored unconditional love and how that can help us create a environment that we feel enough openness and self-disclosure to flourish and become that ideal self, and in return have a real good feel on our self-esteem as well. We also took upon ourselves to write a story on love for the self in shiny armor and talk about ourselves being brave and accomplishing great things with the power of unconditional love. You explored how the self is loved personally and socially, created a Hearts of Gold like mine members and invited them to come to your celebration where you shared a celebratory speech with people that you love unconditionally and feel very encouraged and motivated by their unconditional love for you as well. Your manifestation journey. It was really great to include those people into discovering the unconditional love that you have for yourself and the power of the motivation and encouragement that it does seem to have. You're capable of achieving great things, and now you know how to claim it by turning them into self-fulfilling prophecies. Writing affirmation statements that say, I will, and what you are going to do to claim it as a wish that you want to make a self-fulfilling prophecy. I hope you never stop catching wish fulfillments and deciding to turn them into self-fulfilling prophecies, because your story really is not over. You have so much more to explore. Like you really do. If you believe in your light and the power of the self and shiny armor, you realize that you'll never stop having celebratory encouragement for the self. You'll never stop wanting to motivate it as well. I hope no matter how near or far the Heart of Gold like mine members are from you, that you always find a way to feel the unconditional love that they have for you and you have for them, no matter where in your timeline. I really do feel that unconditional love has this ability to fit with you wherever you may need it, no matter how near or far anybody is from you. You have this ability to keep their love for you very close so that you never stop manifesting, who you want to become, and you'll always have that support with you. Just remember that. They're never too far away. I hope that you've discovered a few ways that you will never stop loving the self, whether present or ideal. You keep aligning that crown. This was Mind Your Motivation. Go ahead and love the self. I'm Anna Turl, and I can't thank you enough for joining me.